41 battles, 41 victories, 0 defeats. This is not a legend, this is a fact. Imagine a warrior general who never knew the taste of failure. This wasn't luck, it wasn't magic, it was pure strategy. This is the story of Bajirao Peshwa, the unstoppable storm of the Maratha Empire. How did he do it? Born in 1700, Bajirao wasn't a king. He wasn't of royal blood. But by the age of 20, he became the Peshwa, the prime minister, and soon the most feared cavalry commander in India. At the time, the Mughal Empire, rotten from within after Aurangzeb's death, was crumbling. The throne in Delhi was a game of musical chairs. Into this power vacuum rode a man with a single, burning vision. He famously said, "Let us strike the trunk of the withering tree. The branches will fall by themselves." His goal? To plant the saffron flag upon the gates of Delhi itself. The Mughals still held Delhi, but their grip was slipping. Rajputs, Nizams, Rohillas, everyone wanted a piece of the crumbling empire. Into this chaos, Bajirao rode, seeing not chaos, but opportunity. His philosophy was simple, and it would change warfare in India forever. He didn't march, he materialized. Bajirao believed that speed is victory. While his enemies marched slowly, burdened by heavy supply trains, he flew across terrain other armies deemed impassable. His armies could cover nearly 300 kilometers in just 3 days, appearing out of nowhere. His favorite weapon was the element of surprise. He attacked where and when enemies least expected. In the dead of winter, through treacherous mountains, in the pouring monsoon rain from the rear, and always under the cover of night. His creed was simple: strike the enemy before he even thinks you're there. In his mind, war was not a shove, it was a slash. While others relied on slow, heavy infantry and cumbersome artillery, Bajirao invested everything in his horsemen. They were swift, agile, and utterly unstoppable. Imagine a phalanx of cavalry smashing through a static line of foot soldiers. That was a common sight in his battles. But his true genius was psychological. He didn't just break armies, he broke their morale. He understood he didn't always need to fight to win. Picture this. An enemy camp at dawn. Sentries look out, and their eyes widen in sheer panic as they see the surrounding hills lined with thousands of Maratha horsemen, silhouetted against the rising sun. He would surround their supply lines, starve their armies, burn their granaries, and shatter their will to fight before a single arrow was even fired. While others carried their weight, he carried his will. His army traveled light. No heavy cannons, minimal baggage. They could live off the land and move like the wind. You'd see a heavy Mughal artillery train struggling through mud, while Bajirao's cavalry would have already crossed a river and vanished into a forest, leaving their enemies chasing smoke. He didn't just create chaos, he mastered it. Bajirao was a master of the political chessboard. He expertly exploited the rivalries between his enemies. If two kings were fighting, he'd subtly fuel their conflict, let them weaken each other, and then strike the exhausted survivor. He was a master tactician who understood that a tactical retreat was not a loss, but a lethal setup. He never fought for ego. If the terrain was bad, he retreated. If the odds were against him, he vanished, only to return later, smarter and ready to strike even harder. He also knew when to draw his sword and when to extend his hand. He forged powerful alliances without ever losing his honor, creating a web of loyalty that stretched across the entire Indian subcontinent. He was a statesman as much as he was a warrior. In 1737, he executed his masterstroke, the ultimate deception. He bypassed every single Mughal army stationed between him and Delhi. He moved so fast and with such stealth that he appeared at the gates of Delhi before the emperor in the Red Fort even knew he had left his capital in Pune. It was the physical embodiment of the saying, "All warfare is based on deception." Perhaps the greatest example of his strategy was the Battle of Bhopal. The Nizam of Hyderabad, confident in his massive artillery-heavy army, challenged him. It was a big mistake. Bajirao didn't launch a frontal attack. Instead, he encircled the Nizam's entire force. He cut off all supplies, blocked every escape route, and allegedly even poisoned their water sources. The mighty Nizam, with his vast army, was trapped, starved, and broken. He surrendered without Bajirao losing a single man in a major engagement. Under Bajirao's leadership, the Maratha cavalry thundered across the continent. Delhi, Lahore, Bengal, Attic, his saffron flag flew over them all. The map of India rapidly painted itself orange, from the Deccan Plateau to the Himalayas, from the Indus River to the Ganges. He didn't just win battles, he built an empire. He transformed a regional power into a continental superpower. The lessons from his life are eternal. Speed beats strength, flexibility beats ego, preparation beats luck, and strategy. Strategy always beats raw power. You don't need to be born great. You need to think differently. This is how a man fights 41 battles and never, ever tastes defeat. If you want to learn about more legendary warrior minds, the genius of Subutai, the sword of Khalid bin Walid, or the empire building of Chhatrapati Shivaji, hit that follow button, subscribe, and share this story of unstoppable strategy. Remember, the world isn't won by the strongest but by the fastest thinkers. Learn strategy, act fast, and create your own victories. Be the storm.